Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WGLEU. 2 games already out the way, and we're up to our third one for the night. The final one, of course, if you have been following along at home. Now, we've seen 2 very close games already, 2 tiebreaker matches here. This match is maybe a little bit different, maybe. I mean, we don't really know. It's Tornado Rocks versus Synergy.
Yeah.
Last season, these 2 games, these 2 teams were very close. And in fact, it might have been a tiebreaker if my memory serves, or close to.
Yeah.
That Tornado Rocks won out on.
Yeah, I think so. I think Tornado Rocks won this one on tiebreaker. They started losing the first 2 tiebreakers, but Tornado Rocks was actually the most tiebreaker team last season as well, out of all the teams. So, yeah, I think this one's going to be a little bit more interesting. I mean, Synergy lost their first game already this season. Obviously, Tornado Rocks wiping the floor yesterday with oops, so they're looking pretty strong. But at the end of the day, we could see another close game. This is how it works.
Yeah, I mean, Synergy fell yesterday, earlier in the week, should I say, to out of range. And I wouldn't exactly call it an upset, but we definitely expected them to start strong, and especially up against a team qualifying out of the Silver Series and, new to the Gold Series. A little bit of a surprise to see them sort of fall down there as well. It was a close game, of course, at the end, as all of these games just seem to be. But Synergy, of course, led by John Corleone, captain and shot caller. We definitely expect to see them at least find some form, or they should. I mean, these are much the same players that they were coming out with last season. I mean, Happy Bubble, Lucy Pablo, a little bit different as well.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, no, quite a few different ones now I think of it.
Dreamlike.
Yep. So some new players.
They've still got the core there. I mean, Swim as well. But I mean, Mielov, John Corleone, those guys are still in the team.
Zmika, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's playing tonight, but
Never Give Up is in the team as well now. He's actually one of the Polish players. He played for EPS and teams like that. So I mean, it's a strong lineup from Synergy. I think it's going to need some breaking in. I mean, they've had a lot of issues throughout the pre-season. A lot of issues with actually will they be able to stay in the season, because, of course, Stalker is not playing anymore, but for them to continue in the Gold Series, they need to have 50% accumulated rounds in the team still going into next season, which they came very close to not having.
Yeah, that's right. So what they have done is actually have added Stalker back to the lineup, although it is unlikely that he will be playing here as well. So you quite easily could have screwed them over and said, no, I'm not joining your team.
Good guy, Stalker.
Good on you. Good on Stalker. It's funny. He does have these moments as well. Generally a nice guy, but when you get him in the heat of battle as well, all bets are off. The man is very much a passionate World of Tanks player. I liken him to Carmen sometimes in the way like he's trying to fire up his team, but unfortunately sometimes when they're in a negative place as well, that same passion gets turned in maybe the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, everyone remembers season 3 when he was giving his team some stick, literally. But I mean, this is going to be an interesting game. Both Russian-speaking teams here. Synergy obviously a lot weaker. Tornado Rocks, Continental Rumble winners. But the thing is, they're playing 2 games back to back. Every single team is playing one game, having a day break, and playing another game this week. But because one team has to play twice in a row, just because that's how it works with the seeding. Yeah. They played early yesterday, they're playing late today. So maybe they haven't had that day to practice. They did tell me, we need a day to practice. This is how we do it. We need a day to just sit down and go through what we want to do against a specific team.
All right, well, you can see the lineup down there as well. Sheepa is more of a manager figure than her captain, as we've sort of learnt as time has gone on. Luciquel, one name auspiciously missing from that list as well, coming across from Hellraisers. Yep. Very, very, very good player. He and Diodor, obviously, having left that team from the Russian scene, they come over to play sort of in the European scene here as well. So, I mean, so far this team has looked really, really good. I mean, but we've talked about this many times. The element of throwing these good players into a team and just hoping, I guess, they gel. The reality is that some of the best players are also some of the hardest to get along with sometimes as well. Yep. And I mean, I don't want to bring out New Multishow as an example of this, but he's been through a fair few different teams. He seems to have found his home at Penta for the moment, so that's good. But he's obviously one of the very few Polish players in that team. They brought him in and they molded him. He sort of plays his own play style alongside of them as well. So, that's what our Tornado Rocks are hoping to do as well, I'm sure. Have, Dido and Luciquel come into the team. Obviously, as Russian-speaking people, communication isn't an issue there as well. Play style maybe a little bit, but a lot of these players have played with each other or played alongside each other or against each other many times in the past. So chemistry is already there. Yeah,
I mean, the pro scene is pretty tight-knit between the Europeans and the Russians. Obviously, there's a lot of practicing and intra-team changing, and it's going to be really interesting. I mean, of course, it's a bit sad to see, Shani Shanapwa move away from the European team to go and replace basically Diodor, Luciquel and Hellraisers. But I think it's going to be a good team regardless and give Na'Vi a run for their money for sure. But I mean, right now I would put Wombat's and Tanks as the strongest team in Europe, just on their previous results, the first and the second. Tornado Rocks closely after them. Penta Sports / Kansas Crew probably just a bit after them as well. Synergy probably sitting down that middle table, maybe 6th to 8th. So technically, here on the first map on Mines, Tornado Rocks should be able to win this one. But again, Synergy is practicing against a lot of these teams, and they might have a good counter.
Well, Melly, we'll be interested to see if there is going to be a good counter here. Tornado Rocks, arguably the stronger performing team we've seen in the past. And I remember going back voting last season, especially looking at Synergy as well. It was very up and down. Even their fans didn't always know if they were going to, put their support behind them.
It hurts a little to speak out the result because already quite few people were voting. But it ends as 100% in favor of Tornado Rocks. Mm-hmm. So a clear 100%. It's not like that a single person just pushed the vote button by mistake or something. There were quite a lot of people voting, so very, very little faith in Synergy at this moment. So people, if you haven't voted yet, head over to facebook.com/WGLEU. Maybe Synergy will get that 1% or even more throughout the match. It always tilts and shifts. We all know that. But get involved and predict the exact scoreline for that very matchup to get your chance of winning one of 5 bonus codes. Also participate via Twitter. Twitter.com/WGLEU. You definitely want to follow because we'll keep you updated during the match with live updates. So you never miss a single second of our games. Score-wise.
It's good. Everyone being updated, of course. And, the conversation always happening on Twitter as well afterwards or during the game. So feel free to jump in and get involved with us in that one. Now, the first map's going to be Mines here as well between these two teams. And Synergy coming with something not crazy different, really. It's interesting, but we'll jump into that, obviously, in a moment. But Mines coming up for these guys, obviously, on the attacking side is going to be, by the looks of things, Tornado Rocks. They're coming forward in this one as well. So I want to see how these islands are used there. I was really, really impressed by the strategies we saw earlier on. Actually, I think it was by Ding on this map specifically to actually to end up their game to get the win in the tiebreaker round. So I don't know if we'll see anything crazy like that here as well. But, a couple of E50s here and a couple of Object 430 Mark IIs as well in the mix. But, as contrary to what I sort of said at the start, it doesn't seem too crazy, these two lineups.
No, it's not 100% used common for the 350Bs to be used. We haven't seen that so far, but it's extremely effective in 50Bs. Once you pounce, it does so much damage, and I think most teams are like 2 or 3 50Bs because one 50B can't kill a tier 10 tank. 2 can, and they can kill them within a few seconds. 3, you're talking about being able to take down multiple tanks. But of course, Synergy playing quite defensively. What was it? Ding had their own tactic, which the kills were made, which was just pushing down south, which countered this quite nicely. But Tornado Rocks at the beginning at least, just wanting to fight for that hill a little bit.
Interesting enough to see Synergy not contesting that one at all as well. A lot of teams at least go halfway towards that one or try and stick a bat chat up there and work around that one. But Synergy playing passively. Positive head towards the island as well. See if we can spot anything out, but even the kill not being heavily committed to by Tornado Rocks. So both these teams actually, with a slow start, playing it fairly passively. And they're not going for anything crazy. Positive the only player really moving right now on the entire map. He's going to try and see if he can gain some information, but there's a good little setup here for a Synergy over on the island. Dreamlike and Mersky are there. So I don't really know how much inroad Positive can really make from this position.
Well, we see Tornado Rocks now actually head from the middle of the map to the right side. This is a pretty typical move. They know that if they go on the hill, they're probably going to receive like 1,000 damage, so they don't really want to do that. And the only problem is, of course, that Synergy is pretty well set up towards the southern side. They got the IS-4 there, which is like the most perfect defensive tank in the world. And then you got the Object 430 Mark II as well, a good DPM tank. So you've got 2 defending tanks plus the other Mark II and the Object 140 that can just go to that IS-4 whenever. So this is interesting for Tornado Rocks. Synergy will have to fight hard though to beat back the AMX 50Bs.
Very slow push here for Tornado Rocks out wide towards an eastern village. Not a lot of information really going to them about these positions. Earlier on in the game, there were some salvos being fired across, but nothing that really was overly impactful at the end of the day. Now, Mersky does take one shot. That was from Positive there, so He's got a big job ahead of him, that player, positive over on the island, to break through towards this bottom side of the map. He can't really do it on his own, but here comes the trainer Tornado Rocks. Are they going for a boost here for FC Dynamo?
Exactly. They're going to boost FC Dynamo up, which gives them the nice little left side kind of push, which allows them to take down the Object 430. I think this is necessary. Mielov actually shooting towards FC Dynamo. Yeah, I mean, you have to get that boost perfect. With the 50Bs, you have to ram each other at the right time and get pushed up. So I think you'll see Tornado Rocks go for this for a second time. And maybe even, Synergy says, well, there's a good chance that Rocks is going to be doing this tactic. Why don't we just push along to that western island or even push up the hill?
Doesn't seem like they're really responding to this one at all, though. They've left FC Dynamo back there. I mean, he's always that player as well that gets boosted up, who's always sort of like watching one angle as well. He's always trusted to, be a constant source of good damage when, his position starts to become relevant. But the Annihilator and Diodor now heading back towards that hill, really. And Tornado Rock's not getting much at all out of this now. 6 minutes and 5 seconds left in this one, or thereabouts. And Tornado Rocks, no real blood being drawn. It's just that one cheeky shot towards Mirsky earlier on. Maybe a second one even to follow it, but nothing meaningful. Nothing that Tornado Rocks can really build on as a concrete advantage for them. And this is good defensive play for Synergy. They're just not giving anything up for free.
The problem is Tornado Rocks doesn't have any real medium tanks to play around with. So 50B, great damage dealer, but what they're supposed to do, they can't push that western island because, the medium tanks will not be able to take down the Object 140 Batchat with the two Russian medium tanks in support. It's pretty hard days. And Dino, Lucikel, and Dido on the Annihilator taking the E50's place, and the rest of them are going over to that right side, going for probably a second attempt at a boost. And of course, the E50 being very high horsepowered and very heavy, might be more successful this time round.
Well, there's 5 tanks here being put together. It seems like everything for Tornado Rocks hinges on actually getting FC Dynamo up in that position there. Very interesting now. They are going to go for a bit of a boost. You are correct. Or maybe move forward as well. Oh, okay.
They're not going to go for a boost this time. They're just going to go straight across. 50Bs in support with a sniper. And it's going to be good. I mean, at the end of the day, theoretically, Synergy should easily be able to, or should be able to stop this push. They got a good setup for it. But again, Tornado Rocks, very high skill, very well executed team. All
right, so 1,000 damage has been taken already by Tornado Rocks now as they push on this one. So they really need to avoid taking too much more. It's inevitable that they will get hit now as they push up. Mihailov knows what's happening. He's already pulled around the back. Dreamlike and John Corleone can get involved here as well. And of course, there is a tank a little bit further up there. So FC Dynamo going low, got tracked up there as well. Not a good situation for him at all. Synergy have the measure here right now. They're playing it slow, playing it safe, getting damage done. It's very efficient trading that they're actually getting involved in right now. As Mihailov does take a hit, but he's going to be relied on for a moment to at least try and hold back Tornado Rocks for now. Vorson's a one-shot, and FC Dynamo is as well. This is not working out for Tornado Rocks at all. They tried, they prodded, they probed. They didn't find too much there, as FC Dynamo is also picked up by Dreamlike, who's gone up towards the hill. Flanking shots are now going to come in towards Tornado Rocks, and they have to push off here, but there's 3 tanks. The Annihilator actually went first without Diode or with him at all, so he could be nuked down very, very quickly. He needs to make one more shot at least. Does get that one. Dreamlike is a one-shot to a 50B. He goes down, and Tornado Rocks might be able to turn this one around. It's possible. John Corleone taking so much damage right now, but Diodor is on reload.
I'm not sure. The damage is not that far away from each other, but the problem is Synergy have tanks left, right, and center, and the 50Bs on reload.
Yeah, that's right. You can see they're all surrounding. Lusik now is going to be having 3 tanks, maybe even 4, to come towards him now. And Diodor, he'll have his reload soon. It will be enough to deal with John Corleone, but now having lost all of those teammates, that's the problem with those autoloaders. Sometimes you're just on reload at the worst possible time. Synergy will take this one away here. Diodor can clean up John Corleone. And then what? There's 3 tanks for him to deal with. They'll all go together. They'll all be able to fire together. One salvo will be enough to claim the life of this 50B as Mirsky around the corner. He takes a shot. Does connect that one. Repairs his track and continues to push forward. Now Diodor is again on reload. Put a lot of damage across, but it's not going to be enough here. And here's the Object 430 Mark II as well to finish things. Mihailov in the distance. And Synergy have gotten that first round away. Giving nothing away, nothing for free. Tornado Rocks, as good as they are, weren't able to dig them out.
No, for sure. I mean, it was flattened straight away, as you mentioned. 1,000 damage as soon as Tornado started pushing, and it just went from bad to worse. I mean, perfect little pincer movement, perfect defensive lineup for Synergy, and yeah, Tornado Rocks didn't really stand a chance. I think they executed as well as they could have done, maybe. Problems. First of all, the lineup with the 50Bs was basically there just to kill the tanks that go on hill, get that guy under pressure. Second problem, they just didn't get the boost. If they got the boost, then they would have given them that nice kind of vantage point to shoot down on Tappy, Bubble, and Mieloff, and also take down that object 430/2. So a lot of problems there for Tornado Rocks, and have to move on to the defensive side themselves now.
Very unconvincing from them as well. Team that we definitely hype up coming into a game, knowing what they're capable of, having seen before what Tornado Rocks can do here. You can see now this is just Mihailov held for so long. Dynamo's about to go down to Dreamlike on the hill. I don't know, this push, rarely do I see this push working. You know, teams have had more success even trying to tickle the cap and draw people out, but even that's tricky.
Though the problem here as well is that Tornado Rocks would love to have pushed from the hill, because if they push from the hill, they not going to receive that first 1,000 damage. They can get safe pretty quickly. Problem is, with the 50Bs again, they can't push the hill really effectively, and they know they'll receive quite a lot of damage. They would receive 1,000 damage going onto the hill, so I think a lineup problem for Tornado Rocks slightly. And, well, it's a whole different board game when you're on the attack than when you're on the defense, and of course that's going to happen now. But looking quickly through the lineups, looks like no 50Bs from Synergy and two 50Bs. Dido and the Annihilator still being taken by Tornado Rocks.
So they're persisting with that one, interestingly enough here. I mean, it actually looks like almost the same lineup here from Rocks. I mean, they're on the defensive side now, so I think everything changes. As you said, it's a different ball game when that happens. Now, Synergy going for quite a different lineup here, starting to look like they're favouring the STBs. Now, I mean, does this give anything away to you about their strategy? Do they want that hill? Are they looking for that speed and DPM?
Yeah, I mean, you want that hill at the end of the day. I mean, the STB is not the fastest tank in the world. It's like kind of middle of the road. But it is fast enough, and of course, you know, we've seen a lot of teams just bang that batch out on the hill and just keep it there and have that as a kind of center point to do damage from. Because on the hill, you can shoot, and you can stay safe from basically every angle. So I think that's what they're going to be doing. And obviously with the 250Bs, it's going to be hard for Tornado Rocks to egress on the hill themselves, but they got 5 medium tanks, 3 objects, and 2 E50s. So they will have that potential, but the E50 not particularly fast.
All right, well, here we go. Pushing towards a hill. Dreamlike is actually going to be able to get there first. That's no surprise to you, as you did point out. The Batchat will be filling that role. Now, the Annihilator, wow, that's a lot of damage. Well, it's a decent amount of damage. Getting a bit ahead of myself there, as Dreamlike's still able to get towards a hill. He's not even loaded yet as well, so there's just absolutely no point in him even trying to fight. But he's there. He's going to try and will he drop off? He will. So, interestingly enough here, actually, a big move for Synergy. All their team pushing towards the south really quickly. Now, this is going to catch Tornado Rocks out. They're going to be caught up on towards the hill. They have to roll off as soon as they can, but it's dangerous now for Positive and Vorsen to do that. They have to stay where they are, and this is great. Synergy now getting their guns. The overmatch here towards Armageddon and Luciquel. Dido having to back right away here as well. They're behind the rock, but Tornado Rocks can respond with a bit of a two-pronged attack here as well. This could be very interesting.
Very interesting. I think Synergy should be slightly faster. I think they're waiting for Dreamlike. Has found the back of Dido.
A little bit of damage over towards that 50B here. Dreamlike himself is quite low though. Dido, well, his attention is being demanded right now, and the Annihilator even is going to step up as well, just to make sure we can clean that one up. Bit of damage for free. Can't go wrong with that one from that Batchat, but he will eventually fall down. Mersky takes damage. Corleone takes damage coming forward as well. And this is Tornado Rocks now. They are actually able to put a lot of damage across the table, but Synergy have so many tanks here, but they're all dropping down. So much damage going over their way. Tornado Rocks, I mean, they were surrounded. They were in trouble, but then Synergy pushed into this. They knew there was going to be shots coming in from 3 directions. They knew Tornado Rocks was on the hill. They knew those 2 E50s were going to be there, and they knew the 50B was going to be on the other side.
Yeah, I think what should have happened for Synergy is that they should have dedicated... People will just jumps off. Not so happy anymore, but I think they should have dedicated a couple of tanks to kill the E50s or just ignore them, and then just push themselves onto the hill as quickly as possible and catch Tornado Rocks by surprise. And then you have Dreamlike from behind in that Batchat to provide some good firepower as well. So you would loosen that HP for sure, but you're going to catch up pretty quickly.
Very, very strange. I said it would be interesting because it seemed like Synergy had a plan. They had an approach to it, but they were coming all from the same direction, of course, and they actually funneled themselves up onto the hill. So they went around the back, and that was fine. They were all together. It looked like that they would caught Tornado Rocks out completely. But straight away, I think it was Luciquel and one of the other players in the E50s. They got behind a rock, that kidney-shaped rock sort of on the hill. There were tanks on the other side as well, coming down from the hill, and even some as well on the northern side. So these two teams swapped sides, and then Synergy just pushed into, a crossfire.
Yeah, they did, 100%. Just instant reactions from Tornado Rocks to set themselves up nicely, and a good round for them. 3 kills from the Annihilator in that 50B. You can see how effective it was in those burst situations. He obviously got 2 clips off. Lucic with is E52.2k, and Dreamlike, the guy who came from behind with 1.6k in his batch chat, he was the highest damage leader, so that's bad news. So around the piece here, both defensive rounds going towards the team. It's Mines, you have slight defense bias for sure. We saw that in Season 1. And, it's going to... The defensive sides, or the bias sides, are going to stay the same for 754 pretty much. So Prohorovka next.
An open map. A place that gives you nowhere to hide, really. Now, on the attacking side, you could see the Tornado Rocks were quite frustrated by the fact that they weren't able to dig Synergy out. They couldn't find them. They couldn't move them. They couldn't force them to move either. Things changed now on Prohorovka, where the way that cap point number 1 is set up specifically actually requires the enemy team to get involved here. So Synergy have nowhere to hide, and this is where I would be afraid as them. I think mine suits them being defensive, at least to get that one round there as well. But Tornado Rocks there, a team that adapts so quickly. That was very, very quick. They knew that there was something wacky coming out from Synergy. Like a full team push is always quite strange and frightening as well, and it forces you to think quickly. Here on Prohorovka, any big moves from your team are generally able to be spotted out, or you at least have a little bit more time to adjust to it or get a feel for it. And the attacking team has more control to force moves out of the defenders.
Yeah, I prefer to be on the attack, actually. I think when I'm seeing these guys play, I actually really want to be in one of those players' shoes, because it's so much fun to play. I think Prohorovka, so much pressure on you, so much weight on every single player's shoulders. I mean, we've seen 251s, we've seen tier 8 tanks being really effective. Unsurprisingly, both teams without really good artillery players haven't gone for that this time round. I don't even know who would pick up an artillery on the side of Tornado Rocks. So this is going to be interesting. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, Tornado Rocks are the ones who should be the better team here. They should be getting the next 2 rounds on the board if they really concentrate, because Prohorovka is, a map you can play both sides effectively on.
Very skill-based as well. That individual skill or team fighting ability is super important, where Synergy have usually preferred to avoid those head-to-head sort of confrontations and actually set things up so that they have control. Not so much in that second round, of course, on Mines. They went for something a little bit different there, but yeah, I mean, I'm even seeing some of these tank picks here as well.
Different.
Jeez, God help me.
Sounds so cockney now, mate.
Spending too much time around British people. Seriously, it's not.
It's a northern accent, just.
Yeah, Mike. Everyone in Australia would disown me. I guarantee. Like,
you reckon the accent's changed already?
Just some of the words that I say. Yeah. Yeah,
some
absolutely.
of the weird phrases you got rid of, obviously. Yeah.
I don't know if they might be there, but they're covered over by strange English isms. I mean, both these two teams here actually looking to stack one particular type of tank. Quite interestingly here, Synergy favouring a lot of bat chats here. I haven't seen that yet. And Tornado Rocks maybe in a bit more of a standard fashion, favouring the Object 140s and T54s there. So 54 being a precursor, of course, of the 140. Yeah, I mean, okay, that'll be interesting to see how this one really works out. I mean, with a lot of bat chats, I mean, I don't really know if 1390 stacks ever worked really very well on Prohorovka in 754 or later on the piece there. You got a lot of wide open spaces, of course, and it's great to have those fast bat chats here as well with excellent acceleration ability and a good top speed, but I don't really know. 2 AMX-30s. I mean, one team's going full Russian, one team's going full French. This will be very interesting to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. Full French lineup. So interesting. I mean, and a full Russian lineup. It's the French versus the Russians. Never seen before in history, but this is going to be good. The interesting thing for me is that the Batchat's a brawling tank, right? But surprisingly, I mean, the AMX-30 it's in my opinion, a sniping tank, 390 damage, decent DPM. So a couple of snipers and brawlers, whereas Tornado Rocks going full brawl with the T54s. That both teams have gone towards that left side. The Batchats probably will have the advantage, and the AMX-30s need to push that advantage.
The thing is that Synergy, Synergy are pushing forward in towards this one. They have towards the attackers, so they don't really know what they're going to be going up towards. Armageddon sitting forward. He's going to be spotting there. Oh, that's a lot of damage coming through. John Corleone is absolutely crippled there. And look at this. Dreamlike's forced to turn around. Now, Synergy, this is hesitation. It's complete another pandemonium here, a comedy of errors. They're going back and forth. They don't really know where they need to go. They probably don't even see most of Tornado Rocks sitting back there. There are at least a few shots coming through, but having that 54 up the front to get those spots was just a stroke of genius, and those Batchats are getting annihilated.
I don't know why they would send the Batchats up that road. I mean, Tornado Rocks clearly made the right decision. For me, a Batchat, you should just be going straight across the middle. You just about have reload, but this has gone disastrously. No damage has been done to any of those tanks, basically, on Tornado Rocks.
Yeah, I mean, just like one hit here or there, whereas Synergy had just been ripped to pieces now, and Tornado Rocks can go in for the finish. Now, the setup that Tornado Rocks used here, clearly to counter something, clearly to receive this kind of push.
Yeah.
it's almost like they knew what was going to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely true. I mean, the thing is, the bat shots 1.8k damage, but your object 140 is 1,900, so you can't even kill it in a 1 versus 1 situation. This is really bad news for Synergy. I mean, this is going to be the most one-sided match we see.
Definitely one of them at least. John Corleone and Dreamlike are the only two standing there, both one-shots to this Object 140 column, punching in towards them, and very unconvincing there from Synergy. Quick game's a good game, so they say. After 2 minutes and 10 seconds, we have Tornado Rocks now getting their second round on the board there. Again, we have seen teams play outside or around objectives of Prohorovka quite often. They just favour a all-in brawl, and whoever wins, wins. I mean, you know, no one really caring about the cap there. I mean, even seeing the tank picks, it was quite clear to see that these two teams weren't even thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I thought, you know, if the Batchats had got into a situation where they were... If the Batchats were on the right side of the road, not the left side, they could have gone into that ball and they would have been safe. But the problem is, you know, as soon as you saw the 140, she's just sitting there, and then I think it was... Lucikel, or the Armageddon, forwards in his T-54, it was game over, let's be honest here. The Object 140 is a good sniper. It's the Armageddon. It's a good sniper, and it's absolute pandemonium. It's just pure damage, 320 every 5 seconds, 5.5 seconds, and no chance at all for Synergy here. 2,502 kills for the Annihilator, 2,500 for the FC Dynamo, and continue down like that. Dreamlike, the only one doing any kind of work here for Synergy with 2,000 of his own damage. So, yeah, very, very one-sided affair. And, well, as soon as you saw that Synergy couldn't get into those close quarter combat situations, you saw that they had no chance of winning this.
And Armageddon, damage caused with his assistance, 5.4k.
That's insane.
So on his spot, that's how much damage was done as well, which means like I think in a I don't know if you get Scout Patrol, would you, for that? You get something nice.
Yeah, you would get Scout, yeah. I think. Oh no, Scout's 11, I think, these days.
Okay.
So you need to have 11 spots, I think.
There you go, a little bit hard to get, but that's big, and you can see it's so simple in its execution as well, and it was done perfectly there by Tornado Rocks. Now, well. Lineup's a little bit different here, a little bit. Tornado not changing anything, though, but unsurprisingly, Synergy. Yeah, Synergy having to go with something a little bit of a different flavour here. STV1's being brought in here, no more Batchat cheese. One of them for Dreamlike, and 2 MX-30s.
Right?
French cheese?
French cheese, yeah. Batchat, French cheese.
Works for me.
It's interesting that croissant is the premium consumable. You know,
really?
and
that's some camembert.
Tea and crumpets is the one for the British stereotype. But Borscht, I think, is a Russian one actually. So
I think for Aussies, if there are Aussie tanks in the game, this never will be. It'll be baked beans and a can of VB. So.
I'll be on a beach.
Pretty much. All right, so Swim taking 2 hits already. Both these teams again playing around the objectives. They're fighting in towards the middle of the map here. They just want to brawl. And you know what? I like that. I enjoy a bit of hard and fast tanks action here. These two teams are just going to trade damage at length for some time here. Mersky low, Armageddon getting taken low as well. Well,
Tornado Rocks are clearly at advantage here. They got the Object 140. Okay, gun depression isn't great, but with that turret, you can bounce a lot of this heat ammo, so you can see Synergy already 1,000 hit points behind. SC Dynamo in a fantastic position just to freely shoot. And this is the thing, Tornado Rocks probably should go up north with one of the tanks, because as soon as they have a tank up north, it's going to be very, very hard for Synergy to allocate resources to kill it. He'll probably be able to do a lot of damage. Lucikel's finally cottoning on to do that. And you can see Tornado Rocks have slowed down in preparation for Lucikel's positioning.
Yeah, I mean, still some shots coming over to Tornado Rocks. They're actually taking more damage in the last few seconds than they really should have. They were ahead, actually, in the damage race. Now that's being turned around a bit. Synergy won't know this. Obviously, they don't have this information available to them, so they might not really change in their aspect or in their attitude towards this one. Now, Synergy actually have a tank north as well, so Lucikel can't actually just hull over and go for it. This might actually backfire in Tornado's face.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tornado Rocks have thrown this game horribly. They had such good damage at the beginning, but they didn't put any tank up north. They were exchanging very badly. They got cocky. They got egotistical, in my opinion, and yeah, not good. They're definitely losing.
Happy Bubble able to go over and get a cheeky little shot towards Lucikel. It's probably under the train, I think. His guns in the 30s, doing a good bit of damage, 390 average, so definitely can hit pretty hard. I don't really know. Tornado Rocks petering out a bit here. Very disappointing from them, actually, as a team that we sort of hold up as one of the best sort of brawler team fighting teams. Now, well behind in health.
Yeah, but that was a good pick off there. That's brought things more even. You can see 2,000, 1,500. Lucikel Vorsic going to go and try and exchange onto Happy Bubble, but of course, support in the background from It's been the best player here for Synergy.
Hailov.
Dreamlike and Milov is going to exchange. Beautiful little synergy from both the two teams. It is in the name after all.
They just absolutely wrecked him then. They didn't really have a chance. And that's the Annihilator now dropping as well. So this is where it all falls apart for Tornado Rocks, I'm afraid to say. Especially if you're one of their fans. Lucy Curl going to get pushed by Happy Bubble, who just crests over, gets a shot. And I don't know. Oh, caught on fire there as well. Careful. He won't die to that, but it'll go low. I don't know, man. Seriously, 2 tanks left for Tornado Rocks. Synergy with about 2k health can push in and finish this one off here. Dreamlike has 2 shots to expend. Can let him go. He actually bounces one off positive there as well. So good little position, but there's always going to be another shot where the first came from when you're going up against an auto loader. And Diodor up against 4. Going to go out to the open and meet his maker. Somehow bouncing that. A lot of one-shots here as well, but you'd have to be an absolute king to come out on top here, really.
Yeah. So game over for Synergy, for Tornado Rocks, just completely thrown by Tornado Rocks as well. At the beginning, they had the better positioning, they got the better damage, but just poor exchanges over and over again, getting super cocky, going over the tracks, getting the top of that, you have the Object 140 and the tracks end where the turret is, and they just got beautiful shots onto the bottom of that turret. So great stuff there from Synergy. Mistakes from Tornado Rocks in terms of individual plays. Also not taking care of the north. As soon as it slowed down slightly, the T-54 should have been up the north, shooting down, and there should have been a kind of collapsing situation from Tornado Rocks. 3,600 damage. Insane stuff from that STB.
Yeah, really good work there. But, I mean, it was a perfect little rotation that he made as well to get the double pick off on those 2 Tornado Rocks tanks who were pushed towards the top of the map there in a position where they could potentially challenge. But they were ahead. They were ahead by 2k and some. And then we saw about a 4k swing in health points there, which put Synergy back in favour just in a matter of seconds as well. There's a lot to be said for a team just sort of keeping a cool head even when they might be feeling that they're behind and just still trying to make the best shots that they can. And Tornado Rocks, funny. You know, it's not the first time we've seen this from them. This cocky kind of play as well. They think they're the best team in Europe, and they think they're the best team in the world. And they always have. Ask Sheeper, he will tell you. We are the best. We should be in every tournament. We should be in the final.
Don't even have to qualify for the grand finals. You should be there anyway.
Yeah, that's seriously what he'd say. But anyway, we're going to go across to Melee as well and see how things are brewing in the melting pot that is the interwebs. 2-2 between these two teams. So, I mean, with votes now starting to close here, a close affair indeed.
Absolutely, and it seems like the community is adjusting, and so the votes are at 79% for Tornado Rocks. I mean, that's a significant difference.
From 100, you better believe it.
From 100, exactly. And I was just reading Twitch chat, and it's just a constant facepalm over and over on both sides. Like, after every round, people are like, what the hell is going on? And it's not even
it's
like
hardly
connected
high-level play, to be honest, right now.
But
from both teams.
Yeah, that's what the people at home are reacting to. So people, head over to Twitter, #WGLEU, and tell us what you think about that matchup.
All right, well, this matchup, as you put it, is a lot closer than maybe our voting would indicate. I mean, these two teams are actually... Well, you know what? I really honestly think that these two teams are losing their rounds based on their mistakes. You know, Tornado Rocks really fluffing things up there. Synergy on Mines in that second round just walking into a complete and utter trap. Don't really understand what the thinking was there at all either. So I don't really know. We are having a bit of a restart here in the map. I think it might have just been a...
Oh, yeah, I don't think we are.
No? Groovy.
Seems like nothing was written in the chat, so I think we're going to be going forwards in this one. Both teams are moving, so
let's jump in.
We can jump in. Both teams as well going towards that left side, and that's that high-level play I'm talking about.
Oh, dear. It's ego as well. It's like we can beat you at your own game.
Well, they're playing but the same game, so yeah. But, I mean, the damage is coming in towards Diodor. He's getting absolutely trounced down. Maybe expecting some attack from the right side, but of course, you know, when you're starting from the south, you have the clear advantage. You've got the scenery, you've got the bushes to hide behind.
Diodor is low, you're right. 951 points of health on him, and even Vorsic took a shot, so... You can see Dreamlight there actually pushing up for Synergy as well, trying to get around. There's 2 T-54s there that might make things a little bit difficult for him, so we've seen them flexed through. And now we're going straight towards Dreamlike there. So 1 T-54 and the E-50, should I say. So Dreamlike will be there with still 4 shots to let go here. And Luciquel going to be able to get some over towards Happy Bubble. They caught it out a little bit there. He's not able to be fired at by the bulk of the forces there for Tornado Rocks. So we're going to have to see now how this happens. So the colours, ladies and gentlemen, if you are wondering, are switched. well, no, they're not actually. I think the names are. That's the only problem there. So obviously, the red is Tornado Rocks and the blue is Synergy. Dreamlike being caught out there as well, so good start for Tornado Rocks now after they're taking a fair bit of initial damage here. We'll have to see how they respond to that. Already having taken 2 Synergy tanks off of the map, so that's a good start. Those guns are not in the game, and that happening so early, even at such an even health point total, it's going to make things really quite tricky for Synergy to stay up through this.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, Synergy have the better position technically, but because they lost 2 tier 9, a tier 10 and a tier 9 tank, it's going to be hard. And a lot of hull down tanks as well, and the 50Bs are coming in as well.
Well, there's STBs just grouped up there as well. Good shots are coming in from Tornado Rock, so they're kind of a bit more spaced out than Synergy are, but they're connecting, and that is the most important thing. Positive is able just to roll up there as well. Roll up, have a little bit of shot, back down. Borson takes down, never give up. 4 tanks left here, and Tornado Rock still have all of theirs. There's no way you can win up against this kind of deficit. There is at least twice the amount of guns pointed at you, firing at you, than you can fire back here. And slowly but surely, a bit of a slow burn here. Tornado Rocks will roll forward. They will claim the scalps here of these Synergy tanks. A swim. John Corleone's already left him on his own. He's going to sink, not swim. And now John, last man standing, he'll drop. And Tornado Rocks just, I don't know, look a little bit better in those head-to-heads. Prohorovka maybe don't consider that one as maybe more of an outlier there as well, as the train line and the way they set up was quite strange. They started off fairly strong there, but getting those tanks down the focus fire was very, very important there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it did come down to the Batchat getting taken down and Happy Bubble in the AMX-30 getting taken down. I mean, let's be honest, as soon as that happened, it was pretty much already game over. But, I think Synergy expected, well, they kind of reacted to what Tornado Rocks was doing. But, Tornado Rocks always have that second plan. They had the 2 tier 9 tanks go up on towards this location, and the Armageddon actually the highest damage dealer for Tornado Rocks, doing 2.6k, and Lucic, the guy with him, doing 2.5k. So those 2 players so instrumental here, so instrumental, and yeah, I mean, you can see Synergy are trying to scramble their way back, having known that they lost a tier 9 and a tier 10.
Yeah, I mean, Dreamlike now realizing just how far forward he was away from his team. Like, he was, I don't know, caught out in a big way. He and Happy Bubble were well caught out, and then Synergy decided to not push through the valley but come up from the hill. It's all the same at the end of the day. You've already lost 2 tanks, and I mean, Tornado Rocks are still going to be there to meet you.
Exactly. So it's going back. It's going for tit for tat right now. Synergy won the last round of Prohorovka. Tornado Rocks won the latest round here on Cliff. So technically, if it's been going, the way it's been going, Synergy should be able to pick now the defensive round on Cliff up, but Tornado Rocks could have just shifted the balance, have the memos of Synergy, and should be maybe actually going to put some momentum in the sales. Well,
as I said, coming from tit for tat, if you want to win or you want to avoid that tiebreaker map, you got to win both rounds. You got to win both halves of a certain map. So, I mean, attack and defense bias doesn't actually really mean so much now that these 2 teams are playing around the objectives. It just doesn't seem to be a factor for them. It's like, I know you, you know me. We played against each other plenty of times before. Let's just gentleman's agreement, meet in the middle, swords out, swing away, and see what happens. But well, Tornado Rocks now obviously up that 1 round. And if Synergy again refuse to play around these objectives or work with them, I mean, they're defending here, so I mean, less onus is on them. But I really don't think it's a good idea for them to try and go head-to-head with Tornado again.
I don't think so. I think technically Tornado have got the better focus fire. I mean, the one thing Tornado doesn't have is a lot of experience together. I mean, they haven't been playing as a team for that long, a few weeks before Continental Rumble. So I've got that issue going for them. But then again, Synergy haven't been playing as this lineup for that long either. So they both got that problem. But I think Tornado Rocks would win most of those situations. Loving those 50Bs, I have to say as well. Every single map, basically, apart from maybe Prohorovka, Tornado Rocks has picked up the 50Bs, while most teams have been opting for the German tanks, for instance, on Cliff.
We're going to punch forward with them anyway. Dreamlike at the front. And this looks like it's going to be a little bit more standard from these 2 teams, if that's even possible. Synergy now making their way up, and Dreamlike up on towards the hill. So Tornado Rocks now, as an attacking team, have struggled a little bit when Synergy don't give up too much.
But this is great. This is a perfect situation for Tornado Rocks, apart from that AMX-30 in the background.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they can ignore him for now. Maybe if they can get some focus fire on towards these tanks. They're going to roll around the corner anyway. But Dreamlike and John Corleone are doing the same from the backside. This is looking very messy. This is looking like Eagle Gaming versus Casa at the Grand Finals. Everyone in the mix right now. The Annihilator is surrounded by so many tanks. And these 50Bs, honestly, going on reload really hurts him in these sort of situations. The burst damage, at least he got most of that one off there. Though very, very close in health points, though, yet again. Vorsen is a one-shot. Dreamlike there. has his shots to come through. That's it, though. He's used them all. He's got no more left. FC Dynamo gets happy bubble. Vorsic drops to John Corleone, though. But Dreamlike trying to feign that he has ammunition, maybe draw some shots. Doesn't really work as Armageddon seems to be focused on the high-up at this stage. 4v4, but I think Synergy have the edge.
Yeah, definitely they have. It's just going to be Synergy's game. You can see Never Give Up in the background, and the MX-30 was just doing so much damage. They ignored him, and you can't really ever ignore a tank in this game. It's just not going to work out for you. I'm 100% sure Never Give Up did the most damage. The biggest fail here was Tornado Rox's 50Bs. They're supposed to be able to go in and absolutely wreck one tank, but Tornado Rox's focus fire was less than stellar. So Lucic goes down, positive remains.
I'm not convinced by this at all. This, this Tornado Rocks team is filled with so many very, very talented players. Not to take anything away from Synergy, by the way. We know this is a team that's capable of pulling out some excellent victories and some very, very good tactics. But when Tornado Rocks are pushing in and just going, all right, let's go, come at us. A team that should be just so damn good at this. Honestly, that was fairly tripe from them coming forward. And their 50Bs took 3 of them. Didn't really have the impact they would have wanted to. I mean, the idea is to try and use them to take tanks off the map early, but when the enemy team is moving around you so much and your 50Bs are kind of a little bit split, it's really hard to actually focus down those tanks.
Yeah, I mean, the 50Bs are the object of focus, and they just don't manage to get the first kill. Actually, the 50B goes down first. That's the worst situation you can be in. When you have such a fast time between shots and you have such a massive burst potential like you do in the 50B, as you mentioned, one tank has to fall before your 50B falls, and the rest of your tanks can do the job. So you can see there's already 3 versus 5, 4 versus 5, and game over already for the teams. I mean, just looking at the damage the 50Bs did, at the bottom of Tornado Rocks, basically annihilated 1,100, and Diador did 733. So Diador 2 shots, the Annihilator 3 shots, 5 shots in total, after 5 out of 8 shots made by them. That's just not good enough.
No.
And Never Give Up. The guy in the background is at tier 9, 3.4k. So even one tank in the background, Penta had 2 Object 140s, even one tank in the background is super effective at taking care of that middle push.
Especially if your fire rate's good as well. I mean, Tornado Rocks, it's unimaginative. Yeah. I mean, you can see which maps are their picks and which maps aren't, to be honest, sometimes. Like, the fights that they're going for, it's like, have you really thought much about how you want to play this map or how you tactically like to approach this, or are you just going to back yourself and, go for these fights? And it's honestly something I think Hellraisers did a bit of, watching them at the grand finals, which is going back a little bit now as well. But I did see some of them through the last season as well. They love to brawl, they love to fight, and if they don't feel like they have an adequate answer to what a team's doing, they'll sometimes just straight out the gates go in for the kill.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is another thing to remember. When Hellraisers was playing at the beginning of the last season, they weren't doing too well at the beginning of the season. They started to get better towards the end of the season. So this is what could be happening here. But, I mean, we're at a scoreline now where we could easily be looking at our 3rd tiebreaker in a row. And that's a disastrous situation, of course, for Tornado Rocks. They want to be getting a clean sweep this season.
Of course, steps it is for the last map of our normal time. Now, any team to get both rounds on this one is going to be the victor. But we may continue the trend of tonight and have yet another tiebreaker. I think this would be the first match day that we've ever had all 3 games being tiebreakers, even after last season. So that will be something, definitely, as both these 2 teams now are going to be pushing forward. I mean, Synergy now are going across the face of this one towards the cap. Going to move down a little bit deep. This is a bit further south than I normally expect a defending team to ever really go.
Yeah, they're all spotted as well, so it's kind of an awkward situation for them. They didn't really catch anything out from Tornado Rocks. You can see Tornado Rocks immediately know that because Synergy is pushing towards the west, that the Tornado can just simply take the east. And once they have the east, it's going to be very hard for them to be dug out of.
Tornado just backed off there in a big way against Synergy's first push. So maybe that was just a bit of a feint to try and force Tornado Rocks back, and now into the valley they go. But whatever Tornado Rocks do, they seem to not really want to waste too much time about it, with the exception of Mines, I think, where on the attacking side they really were looking for some information. Here they just seem to be either decisive or rash in their decision-making. It's hard to tell from our perspective, really. So they do go in towards the valley, and Synergy do too. So already pushing quite far forward. Lucic is on that cap.
Yeah, he's in a good position right here. I love the way Tornado Rocks are playing. They're going forward, they're being reactive, and I think if they play this correctly, I mean, there's no reason why they would lose this round. There's absolutely no reason. They have the Object 140 forwards, which will be replaced by the MX-3090. They have the Object 140 on the right side, and all the other 140s behind support. Oh no, they're just going to put they're going to put 2 tanks in the cap. Even more pressure onto Synergy.
A common response from this is what we're seeing from Synergy. They're all pushing down. They don't actually have anyone towards the south yet, so they have to go as a unit and fight. And Tornado Rocks better hope that there's plenty of support for these 2 small tanks up on the cap here. Coming across from the middle, give Synergy a better angle. They don't have to sort of crest the hill so much. They can just sort of pull together like this now. So they're looking towards a reset here, but Tornado Rocks in the meantime are firing across them. Look at all those tanks turn towards just the 2 on the cap here. And I mean, Synergy have to get rid of them very, very quickly, but Tornado Rocks are ready for this. And Synergy just coming across the face of their fire. Every shot counts right now for Tornado Rocks, but they have the better positioning. They just have to execute better.
Yeah, look how much damage is going. I mean, those Object 140s only do 320, so it takes a long time to kill a tank, but again, not going too well for Tornado Rocks as they are being caught out.
Well, a little bit. I mean, you can see Synergy now have actually been able to sit back a little bit, swim behind the rocks, forcing to take a lot of damage. He's caught tracked up on the hill. Dreamlike's a one-shot. He's picked away. FC Dynamo's going to lose that 1v1 against Mihailov. The STV1 just so damn good and putting out damage over time. And the FC Dynamo just trying to back away. Mihailov has a shot. He just wants to make sure he connects it. 3v4. Tornado now 1,300 points down in health. Didor getting some free damage. You definitely can't complain about that. And Vorson also looking for a bit of free damage of his own. Going to come around from the side. Some good shots from Tornado Rocks here, but very, very hard to stand up against superior tank numbers as well, especially at this late stage of the round.
I think you can quite clearly see, I mean, the Object 140 is a lot worse than Tornado thinks. I mean, everyone knows when you play the 140, you're sitting there the whole game, clicking, shooting. You think you've done a lot of damage, and then you look at your post-battle results score, and you've only done like 3,000 damage or something, 2,500 damage, and you're like, what the hell? I shot like 20 times and I connected 20 times. So the STV1s are just clearly better in these situations. The DPM's too much, the HP is more, and the armor as well can bounce.
Now, this is interesting. Didor can finish Happy Bubble over there. Positive and Mihailov go very, very close on this one. Swim is a one-shot. He has to back away. So maybe an opening here. If Didor can get over the top here, a shot towards Mihailov, he does connect it. Positive won't reload first, but Mihailov is still going to drop to Didor. It's going to make it a 2v2 situation. And honestly, Tornado are more healthy right now. That shot bouncing from Never Give Up, it's really, really nasty, but Swim's now going to go and get involved. Where is Vorson when you need him? But there's a finish on towards Swim. Tornado Rocks may have just turned this one around. They're going to focus their fire towards Never Give Up. It's going to be one and then another. Didor shot in towards Never Give Up. He's a one-shot. He's trying to get away. And the AMX-30 won't do enough damage to get the finish there. Devastating for Never Give Up, who's going to be going up against 2 tanks and take it down. And Tornado Rocks clutch victory from the jaws of defeat.
Unbelievable. They actually managed to come back from that one, and never expected them to. But I mean, that's that individual play of Tornado Rocks finally coming into equation. The nice positioning from the teams, and Didor playing very well, keeping his team in the fight, and then just coming from a couple of angles. Really nice stuff. Synergy seemed to losing a little bit of momentum, a little bit of focus there, and you do that and you get punished by Tornado.
Tornado were down about 1,600 health points and one tank. So yeah, about a full tank behind.
Yeah,
that's brilliant stuff from them. Having less guns in the game, putting Swim really low, forcing him out of the action was really, really good for them. You can see now here, Swim is positioned well towards the back here. So Happy Bubble, this is great from Didor when he chooses to take this fight against Happy Bubble.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, Positive goes down. I mean, it's bad news for Happy Bubble because he's a one-shot. I do feel kind of sorry for Swim that he doesn't take down Positive. He did 330 damage. And obviously, the Swim has got a tier 9 gun. It should do 390 damage. So this is unfortunate. Didor does very nice damage. He did 4,000 damage this game. I mean, 100% his team was losing. And he just made a massive comeback here with 4 kills of his own.
And this is exactly why Tornado wanted that player in their lineup so badly. He's a genius, really, on an individual level.
330 damage. I mean, it's so unfortunate. If Never Give Up managed to kill Didor, it would have been a 1 versus 1 situation, and he could have actually won that one.
That was a really low roll from him.
Super low roll.
That is the way it happens. I mean, we all remember those few iconic moments in World of Tanks where a little bit of RNG can go a long way. I refer back to Fnatic, obviously losing to PvP Super Friends at our first grand finals. That was quite funny, but these things happen. That's just the way the game works. I mean, the reality is that little element of randomness there as well is supposed to be overcome by teams just being solid and consistent.
True.
So although the randomness is present,
you should never be in that situation at the end of the day. I mean, it's a game about skill, but it's also it's chess. That's what the Russians say. World of Tanks is a game of chess with tanks, and it's more about positioning, thinking 2 moves ahead as opposed to getting your snapshots off and stuff like that.
That's right. So, it's not about that sort of fancy footwork. If you can do that, that's good. But more often than not in the game of World of Tanks, it's very, very hard to drag your team through a round if you're already getting wrecked. So the setup is important. The mentality and the thinking before the game is also very, very important. So a big part of these teams actually coming out on top, unless you're Tornado and you want to charge across the field, and that's fine. You can do that if you want. So going into this one now, match point, of course, coming up for Tornado Rocks now. So we'll dive into the action. And, well, honestly, they can defend here as well. So I'd be happy with this if I were them. But will it be standard? I don't know.
Well, it's weird. I mean, this is the thing, right? So Tornado Rocks have gone for the full Object 140 sweep. And Synergy gone for pretty much the same with the Batchats and an STV one, which I like. The weird thing is that they've gone with Happy Bubble in Lorraine. He's going to have a hell of a task to hit these tanks and do good damage. I mean, for sure you can do it. I mean, I remember once when we were playing an offline tournament somewhere, what was it called? What was that little tank called? The little Russian scout tank. Can't remember. TVD-2, that's the one. Can't believe I forgot that.
Oh, it's been removed from the game.
Two of us got one shot on full pelt at 72 kilometers moving. So, I mean, it can happen. It's just a hard task to hit.
That tank was so troll.
It was.
So damn fast.
It was the best tank ever made.
But it's gone, of course. For those of you wondering what it was taken out of the game because it was too good. That happens. Now, a lot of tanks on the cap here for Synergy. They're really putting a lot of pressure on there. And the Annihilator takes a double tap, if I'm not mistaken, there as he tries to poke over. So Tornado Rocks now really forced to move very, very quickly here. This is Synergy wanting to go for that tiebreaker map. They really, really fancy it here. And, well, honestly, they can do it right now. 10 seconds left. Resets must come in, but those Batchats are going to be ready to fire back if they need to. God, hit a shot, please. Down towards 7 seconds here, and no resets are coming in. That was the first reset there as well. Here come the Batchats. They're going to push off now. As soon as that reset came in, they're ready to fight. It's going to be an old-fashioned dirty brawl. Who's quicker on the draw is going to come out on top, and John Corleone comes forward. The first two to drop. Luciquel and Diodor, the two coming over from Hellraiser, is the first to go down. And Tornado Rocks here, having to bite back as much as they possibly can. Vorsten is low. He's not able to get away. He was a one-shot, and Dynamo's on fire as well. He's taken an incredibly high amount of damage here. Synergy looking all right here.
The problem is right now, I mean, Synergy are on reload. They have the burst, which has taken out 3 tanks from Tornado, but now they're all on reload. It's going to be all about, first of all, Tornado having to take down the STV1. That's the most important thing. Then they can worry about the Batchats, as they do have some time to play around with. Super low roll there from the Annihilator. Will have the reload first, but the Armageddon takes care of him. And now it's even Stevens, but the Batchats are close to being reloaded.
So Tornado had to deal with those Batchats first before they could get these reloads, and now, well, they haven't. They're ready to go. Never give up. Finished reloading. Ready to fight, of course, and he is going to be looking fairly healthy. So focus fire has to be so good for Tornado Rocks right now. The one positive here is that they've kind of split up Synergy, their lineup, a fair bit. I mean, you've got Never Give Up there on his own. Dreamlike is low as well, and so is Swim. So they might try and regroup and then go for something on the lower ground.
Yeah, Armageddon versus Never Give Up. I mean, I don't see how the Never Give Up's going to lose this one, to be honest. I mean, Armageddon basically threw himself into death. That's one of the worst plays I've ever seen. And yeah, that's given Synergy the game, surely. Well, I said that last time as well. It obviously didn't happen.
What was that? Why?
I don't know why he pushed in the MX-1390. It's unnecessary. The Batchat's just as fast as the MX-1390, but Never Give Up gets absolutely destroyed, but reply comes in straight away.
Mikhailov's there with 4 shots as well. Swim, looks like he's reloading it or something. So Positive now really needs to work together with FC Dynamo, but there's just no way. The Batchat, far too many shots here, and there are opportunities here for Tornado Rocks to take this game away, but they just didn't take them. They had to go towards the Batchats when they were on reload. They didn't. And look at all the damage Positive getting taken now. He's going to go down, and Synergy have taken it to that tiebreaker map. 3 games tonight that have gone to tiebreakers, and I wish I could be surprised, but I'm really not. That was just some interesting stuff there, and very sloppy from Tornado Rocks to get put in that position.
Both these teams are playing pretty averagely, or if not below average. I think the mentality is the same in 754 when it first released. Like, pick those cookie cutter tanks, and then just do whatever you want. You think you can win, but really interesting stuff. I mean, first of all, Tornado should have won that straight out because the artillery was in the equation, but the Batchat was useless. The Armageddon was totally useless in that game. He did 1,000 damage. He got 2 kills, to be honest, but he should have stayed alive and been able to support his team against those Batchat would have been super useful at the end of that game. Great play by Synergy. I mean, the only way they could have won that is if they did what they did. They put themselves in the cap, forced Tornado Rocks over those hills, because Tornado Rocks, in their all infinite wisdom with the Object 140s, have to crest the hill to get the gun depression to shoot down and get the resets. You know, a clever team which should have thought about this would have probably picked like an STB1 for their gun depression to get the resets easily. But yeah, Tornado Rocks had to commit. They lost 3 tanks for that. And even when the Batchats are on reload with 35 seconds, it's not a long time for anything else to happen.
I don't know, man. Tornado Rocks seem so very stubborn and set in their ways here. You know, maybe not identifying the flaws in what they're going with here. I mean, these Object 140s definitely not having the impact that they wanted to. You know, and you said before, maybe this isn't the best way to use them.
No, I think you have to have a... I think, honestly, the STB1 is just a superior tank if you're really looking for damage and, you know, just a little bit more versatile in these, like, crucial situations. The Armageddon here just getting focused down. I mean, never give up 3,500 damage here in this game. And he was truly incredible. If the Armageddon had been alive, I think it would have been a different story. But he goes down. And I think at this stage, you can see the damage is 1.5k, 1.6k towards Synergy. It's going to be game over. The Batchats didn't work on Prohorovka, but they came back in some style. As obviously Synergy had done some initial damage, which was enough to take down the objects when they pushed. Anyway, we'll be moving on to Cliff. And Synergy had the faster attack, so they will be choosing the defensive side, as every team has done so far today.
Cliff, as our tiebreaker here, what are your impressions having seen Cliff already between these two teams? I mean, both of them resulted in brawls here.
Yep.
Both Tornado Rocks, obviously, with a good start in that one. And then that sort of brawl on the hill in that second game sort of fell apart from them here. I mean, are we really going to be rolling the dice here between these two, do you think?
I think if EL Gaming did anything at the Grand Finals, it was proved that, you know, the Europeans and the Russians aren't good at brawling. Like, we talk about how good we are at focus fire, but actually the synergy and the initial spots and everything, which is really important, the calling is not necessarily that great, even from these high skill players. I mean, you got to remember, the reason these guys have got great statistics in game, they have great statistics in game not because they're aggressive, they've got great statistics in game because they are sitting back, letting their team go forwards, and then, you know, getting the damage to themselves. That's how everyone who's learned well tanks has grown up, and that doesn't lend itself well to these brawl situations. So I think Tornado Rocks needs to work on that. Synergy is slightly better, but to be honest, I think in the 2 rounds, I think Tornado was a little bit more convincing than Synergy.
Well, there you have it. I mean, to have things finish off on Cliff as well, where we've just seen very chaotic games, is interesting. It's almost like, I mean, these two teams themselves are rolling their dice to see who's going to win it. I mean, the second map on Cliff there, it started standard. It looked like it started standard, but you know, there's those teams that will sit back and set up on the hill, and then there's those teams that will push over the hill and actually go for the fight. I mean, and Tornado Rocks is always stubbornly, always going for it, always coming forward. So we have our tanks being selected here now, ladies and gentlemen, as they're getting their stuff sorted. And before we jump in, Melly, of course, people still have a chance to get in touch with us, of course. Voting is closed, though, of course, after the first 4 rounds.
Exactly. So people, if you have something to say about this match, if you have questions towards our experts, if you want to say how much you like the show, head over to Twitter and use the hashtag WGLEU. We really love reading from you. We are happy about every single tweet from you guys. And as Mitch already mentioned, the vote has closed, but it ended 77% for Tornado at the end. And quite a few people voted that we're going to see a tiebreaker somehow.
I think we're going to see a lot more tiebreakers, to be honest. I think this is definitely not the only match day that's going to be a 3 tiebreaker.
Yeah, but none in favor of Synergy. So all were voting in favor of Tornado when it comes to tiebreakers.
I think if Tornado lose the tiebreaker, it'll be their fault.
Yeah,
I think it'll be because, and credit to Synergy as well, but the way that Tornado like to play, if they lose, it'll be because of something that they didn't do right.
I think Tornado Rocks are not giving any respect to Synergy, and they're getting punished for it.
Yep, and so they should be, to be honest. So there you go. Fans have... a lot of them have been voting for the tiebreaker here. I mean, if you counted up the games and seen how many tiebreakers so far, statistically, that's a pretty good guess to go for. But we're going to be into this one now, of course, jumping into Cliff for our tiebreaker match. Both these teams got one apiece earlier on in the night, and it's time to see who gets that final one now here. E50s and STB1s. Tornado Rocks actually not going for any Object 140s here, but those 250Bs are there, and we saw them go down really early last time. That cannot happen again.
Yeah, but this time they actually send him down south, which is going to be interesting. I mean, not exactly sure how effective they are. Personally, I prefer to play a single shot tank if I'm going for the side shots, but I have to see how this works out. Either way, Tornado Rocks have to be pretty passive at the beginning. They can't allow Synergy to work out that their 50Bs aren't in the fight, otherwise Synergy will just simply push over and get the over 7 versus 5 overmatch.
Now, Happy Bubble's already pushed forward and gets a shot in towards Vorsen, but it doesn't look like Synergy have committed to a fight here. So this is good time for, I guess, these 50Bs to get around. The Annihilator going to be coming in from the back, and he has made his first shot there. Positive, though, getting almost double tapped there, I think. Tornado Rocks don't want to commit into this one as well, but the shots are still coming in from the back, and this is just perfect. Look at John Corleone. Look how low he went there because of the Annihilator. Lucy Kill picks up Never Give Up. Mihail's pushing straight on forward, and so is Swim. Happy Bubble not too far behind as well, but Tornado Rocks still have their tanks close together. They still have that health point lead, but those 50Bs are on reload right now, so it's a scary few seconds where Synergy honestly have the power play. Not that they really know this, not that this is at the front of their mind, but they have a little bit of an opening here to start to return some damage. They have more guns. Armageddon's going to get ganged up on here. Lucy Quill can't do much at all in that 850. He's got a little bit of terrain to cross before he even gets there. But the Annihilator and Diodor, well, the Annihilator at least is reloaded here. And there goes Mirsky. Happy Bubble down to a one-shot. And this should be for Tornado Rocks right now, especially with Diodor coming off that reload.
Definitely. I mean, these two 50Bs, 25 second reload for 1.6k damage. Mieloff will surely fall in this situation.
Well, it's good to see these 50Bs being used well this time for Tornado Rocks. They kept him out of the fight to start with. They brought him in from the side and from the back and in that secondary wave of assault. And it seems to have worked out really well. Now, Dreamlake is also on reload. So he's now just got those back. He's be able to fire towards the Annihilator, but with Luciquel and Diodor just over the horizon. It's going to be Tornado Rocks' game. Finally, another 9-game special. And we do have a winner in the tiebreaker. Only 2 points going over to Tornado Rocks. And if I was them, looking at their attitude, the way they approach these games, they'd probably be disappointed with that.
For sure. I mean, let's be honest here. They should have got the clean sweep. And already in the second match day, it hasn't been a clean sweep. See, clearly, Tornado Rocks not giving any respect to Synergy and getting punished for it. So, a very interesting match. I mean, let's be honest here. The 50B is basically on the lowest point of the table when we saw Tornado Rocks have that tactic last time. This time, the United 3.4k in his 50B. Second was Diodor with 2,903 kills between the two, and Luciquel with 4 kills of his own. I mean, the E50 is an absolute DPM god. That's exactly the perfect situation you have. That's how like confirmation that your tactic and your lineups work. When your 2 highest damage dealers are at the top, and when your rate of fire tank is with the most kills. That was just perfect stuff from Tornado.
And I feel like to break this one down, it's pretty straightforward. You know, with those 2 50Bs coming in from off angles.
Yep.
Synergy were in a struggle. Like maybe if they had somehow been able to read into the fact that the other 50Bs weren't there, they could have pushed forward, and they probably should have, as you said. But how do you know that? How are you going to know that that's going to be the play?
Yeah, exactly. It's impossible to call. I do have to go. I do have to give shouts out to the Annihilate and Diodor in that situation. I mean, you have 4 shells, which is not a lot, and they managed to connect them all. Fantastic stuff. And also just Tornado Rocks just having the foresight just to try and put enough pressure onto Synergy and not say to Synergy, okay, you can just push onto us. Synergy realized too late when the 50Bs were in position, and that was too much for them.
So, we finally made it, ladies and gentlemen. We got towards the end. Let's recap a little bit over tonight's results as well, because, I mean, they're all kind of the same, but there's a story behind every one of these games, Oliver.
Yeah, I mean, the first game, Pentasports finally, get a win. Well, they've only played 2 games, but they managed to get a win
Finally,
here.
God.
Yeah, they lost against Kanaka Broad. They win against Out of Range, but both teams get some points. Ding, Kanaka Broad. KB looking strong, have to say. They're looking like one of the top teams for this season, top 6 teams. And Tornado Rocks, you just saw, finally managed to best Synergy.
Back and forth, 5-4, and a lot of these games were just round by round. These 2 teams, these 6 teams, should I say, just back and forth, tit for tat. No one really getting 2 rounds in a row on any one map, and even if they did, it was cancelled out a little bit later on. So that's the kind of tanks we like as well. Those exciting games, those ones that really keep us on the edge of our toes. And Melly, I mean, the viewers have been with us all night, just with us, experiencing the same things we are as well. So I'm sure they're probably just as tuckered out as we are.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a long night. It's been a long week, and we're not finished yet. We'll be back tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to. So people, thank you very much for tuning in. Also, follow our Facebook page at WGLEU. No, that's a Twitter account, of course. Facebook.com/WGLEU is the Facebook page. And, of course, our YouTube channel, also WGLEU. And don't forget to subscribe to our Twitch channel to get a notification as soon as we're going live, so you won't miss any single second of us people speaking. And thanks.
And tanks. Probably mostly tanks and maybe a little bit less of us speaking, but it's all the same, really. Before we close things up here, let's give you guys a little bit of a teaser towards tomorrow night's games. It's going to be the last night of our Super Week. 3 matches left to finish things off, and it's going to start off with the cracker. It's Kaz the Crew and Rusty Roster.
Yeah, see if Kaz the Crew can continue their run. They've obviously got 1 win over Utopia so far. Then it's Strong, Siema versus Oops, one of the long-standing Polish teams against a new team. Oops, the Giraffen, the Tough Giraffes, and Wombats on Tanks, who had the only clean scoreline so far against Utopia.
It's funny, we haven't seen much from Wombats on Tanks yet. What we've seen is just them being really good. So, I mean, that's good for them, but very, very hard to say, what it's going to be like as the quality of their opposition changes and fluctuates. But, I mean, we're going to find out tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you again to Echo Melly's sentiments. Pleasure to have you with us. We're going to see you guys tomorrow, same time, as always, same place, of course. Don't miss it. We'll see you then.